Welcome to our last day at the Berlinale co-production market. This is our last talk that we're hosting. It's our casting case study on finding the best actor in the world. And as you could see already from the trailer, we're not doing this by ourselves, just from the Berlinale co-production market, but with our dear colleagues at European Film Promotion, EFP. And we've been working together for the past 4 years already to bring together producers more with casting directors because they're interesting and important contacts. So we're very happy to have this collaboration. And I would like to ask Sonja to take over from me and tell us a little bit about this talk because they have set it up. They have organized everything. And I'm just so happy to be able to be listening in the next hour.
Thank you very much, Martina, and thank you for letting us being part of the co-production market. European Film Promotion is organizing every year, as probably some of you know, an event called European Shooting Stars. And because of this event, we bring the most exciting new upcoming actors from all over Europe to Berlin, which we could also do this year physically. And we invite a lot of casting directors to come there and meet with the shooting stars. And that was the start of our collaboration with the ICDN, with the International Casting Directors Network, because many of them are the ones joining us. And then there came the wish really to get connected more, the casting directors with the producers. And this is what we usually do in the House of Representatives, and now we try to do it online. And I'm also happy that Spotlight, the home of casting, the platform for casting directors, also is hosting the panel. And we were then for a while thinking about which film do we take as a case study. So we are very happy to have a twice Oscar-nominated film, The Worst Person in the World, with an outstanding casting. And we are really happy to have you here. Our guest Tanja will introduce you in a minute that you explain how it all worked. And I'm very happy about Tanja Georgieva-Waldhauer from Elemag Pictures to moderate the session. Over to you, Tanja.
Thank you, Sonja. Thank you, Martina. Thank you very much for inviting me and us also to this panel. And I can say I'm very, very happy that I'm having the chance to discuss today with Andrea, Yngvill, and Pippa this really unique film. I can just encourage everyone in the audience who didn't have the chance yet to watch the film, The Worst Person in the World, just go and watch it. It really is unique. It is, I mean, one can get lost when trying to catch the buzz the film created in the last year. So there are so many positive critic reviews, so many festivals, so many awards. Sonja mentioned it already, twice nominated for an Academy Award, 4 BAFTA nominations, if I'm not mistaken, and many, many others. And I'm very happy to welcome today the producer, Andrea Berentsen Ottmar from Oslo Pictures, and the casting director of the film, Yngvill Kolset Haga, and also Pippa Harrison. She will support us as well as somebody who knows very well the casting world all over Europe. So hello to this panel. And as I said, I really want to congratulate you on this film, Andrea and Yngvill, both of you. And also everyone who's watching the film, I think it's very safe to say that one of the main issues of the film is Renate Reinswell. She is the main actor of the film. She's carrying the film. She's astonishing. She is outstanding. She's stunning. She's really a great actress. And but she's also somebody nobody knew before, I would say. So nobody outside from Norway, at least. And I think it's also safe to say that she is one of the discoveries of the last years. So that's why I would be extremely curious to hear from you, Andrea and Yngvill, how this collaboration with her started and how she came on board on this film, because it takes some trust from producer's side and also from casting director side and director side to trust such an important role to somebody who doesn't have that much experience.
Yes. Thank you very much. Very nice words from you. I can start a bit on that.
Of course.
this whole project and the script was actually written for Renate. Joachim had her in mind when he and Eskil started to write the scripts. They had already had her in a very, very small part in also August 31st. She had one line. And I think at least Joachim has told me he knew there was very much more to her as an actress and that she hadn't really been given a fair chance to show her talent. So I think he had her in mind for a few years before starting to write this project. But the character Julie is very much written to her.
I see. So you knew basically from the very beginning as producer that she will be the main actress of the film. And how did you feel about this? And I just want, before you go on, I just want to encourage the audience to share your questions with us. So you do have the possibility just to write in the chat or in the comments your questions if you want to know anything. And we will try to integrate and answer all questions. But Andrea, so my question first before, and so how did you feel as a producer going into such a production with an actress who doesn't have a lot of experience and it's basically not unknown or has been unknown?
I mean, this is the first time I worked with Joachim, and Renate was even attached to the project before I was. He is very much, I mean, it's a very director-driven project. He has a lot of experience and a lot of great visions that we trust very much his decisions. And this is such an important one, and very much he was very confident in this choice himself. There was like no doubt at all, so it was no reason for us to doubt it either. And we could also see her, I've seen her on stage before. I've seen her done comedy TV shows, and did see the small, the rehearsals that you did with her, and it was very obvious that she was a very solid choice.
Okay, so you basically had no chance. You just had to go with his choice. And
no, I don't know if you gave him any. Sorry, I just don't know if you gave him any like questions, Yngvill, on that choice.
No, sorry. When I was like called to talk about Joachim, about his new project, I'd already done his last film called Elemag. He told me right away that he had Renate in his mind, and I knew already a lot about her. I followed her through the theater school and seen her done like fantastic things on stage, and she obviously has been a talent in Norway for some years already. So I mean, for us Norwegians, she's not like, wow, this. But yes, also maybe for the main big cinema audience in Norway. I mean, it's her first lead, of course. But she's been a name there, a big talent for a long time. And when he told me the script was thought to be for her, I was perfectly fine with that. Yeah, I didn't have any second thoughts about that, for sure. I've been a great fan of her since I got to know her when she played in theater school.
And how would you, Yngvill, describe, maybe in your words, the perfect collaboration between a casting director and the director? So when do you really start working, and how do you find out what the director really needs or wants?
Yes, I mean, every project and every collaboration with a director is its own like road and own story, but often they are more or less the same too. But for instance, in this project, she was there, so you have like the head of the pyramid, and then he was already discussing with Eskil and also me and with himself if he should choose Anders Danielsen Lie to play one of the other male leads, and that was just something they have done many films already, and I also meant it would be a good choice for this project, and how I know Joachim, because I know him quite well after working with him once before. And then I start with the third big role, and the script was quite finished actually when I came into it. So it's also that makes also a big difference when you start the casting process, if it's like a first type of script, or if it already feels like a script that you really can just start to dig into and work with immediately, which I really felt that this script were. And then sometimes, I mean, Joachim has very clear visions of what he wants, but he's also a very open director in some way. It's this combination. So sometimes he just wants to see many alternatives, and he has, I don't know, kind of a trust that I will serve him some good alternatives, and that's then some are in his alley and some are not, and then you just work on. And he's a kind of director that wants to see also then a lot of alternatives if he hasn't had a plan in his mind. And but in this project, I also want to say that I came on board quite early, so we had a good time to do this casting in a very like good and healthy way, or what should I say?
And you knew him already before from another project. But how long did it take all in all? So the entire casting process of the film. So maybe just to give us an idea.
Yes. Andrea, when did you start the shooting? August 20?
Yes, but we were supposed to start in April, and you started in September, I think, or August.
Yes, or actually February the year before, but yeah, it was postponed some. Yeah, so I was involved and had it in the back of my head for quite some time actually. But yeah, but more or less a year of full-time casting. Yeah.
Okay.
And then two of the leads were there. So yeah, a year for all the others.
Yeah. Okay. But Andrea, did you had already the financing when like the recasting process started, or have you been financing in the same time?
Yeah, we were definitely financing at the same time. We had some development funding in place. But we also, I mean, during this project, COVID hit and Joachim broke his leg, so it was postponed twice. So things kind of, it didn't go as planned. But we definitely financed as we went. Went on with the casting. But in that sense, it was also very, very good to have Renate in place, and also then Anders in order to unlock like the final financing.
Has it been, and I need to ask again, and not because I don't trust it, but it's just because in some countries it's a little bit different. Has it been ever an issue during the financing process, or in any negotiations during distributors or sales agents, that Renate is a no-name cast, basically? And then, as I said, so I'm not asking because I am not convinced, but I know it from myself, also from my own negotiations, that it can be, at least in Germany, it can be an issue if the cast is unknown. So that's why I'm curious.
Yes, I think we're definitely in a fortunate place. So we were in a fortunate place with this project, and also in Norway, in in the European financing structure, we're not asked for A-list cast as a requirement. I've been through that too, but with more like corporate setups. But it did definitely help. As Renate was a fresh and unknown person, it was very good to have Anders also to kind of he was more bankable at that point. But it wasn't questioned very much, and I think it's also because of Joachim's standing.
Yeah, I mean, yes, of course, maybe we have a quite experienced and famous director. But did you had, I'm really just curious, did you had to take any special requirements or anything during the marketing process of the film? So did you have to do anything more than as for other films to push the project up, or has it been an issue?
An issue to promote it, like in general, or
Yes.
I would say we did make quite a clear decision that we wanted to push Renata in front. Previously, I think Joachim has done much more himself, where he has he's been kind of the face outside a bit more, and this time he wanted to say Renata is so great, we need to push her in front of the film and make her really the star of the film. That was really his goal, and I think he was very right in doing that, and that is what has happened. And of course, the film is Julie, so it shouldn't. Yeah, we didn't doubt that, but it was definitely a very active choice.
Yeah, great. I mean, it has been. I agree with you. It has been definitely the right choice. I can again encourage everyone to just go and watch it, and it's also great. I'm almost jealous that you could work in this environment, and just it's great to discover new faces and to push them. I mean, also every famous actor just started somewhere, so all of them have been unknown at some point, so they need to start somewhere. Yngvill, as far as I understood, the film works with a mix of established and not established actors, maybe even non-professional ones. So can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, well, I would say that mainly all the grown-up roles are like standard professional actors, Norwegian ones, but some of them hadn't filmed a lot at all. They come from theater or other kinds of acting work. And then also some characters were really difficult to find, to like really get Joachim to like, yeah, find the ones he wanted. And then I also searched in like, yeah, amongst, let's say, people or that do other things, or that might be in like the type of environment that the character should come from. And yeah, so I used also a lot of time doing that. And also some of the cast, they are not professionally like educated actors, and that's also what I mean, in one part of me really believes in like the traditional actor coming also maybe from a hard really difficult school background, or has worked herself or himself up, but also acting for film and acting for camera can be very like spontaneous, and you can be the right person if you're there at the right time. It can be like, so in one way, when I do some teaching for actors or students, everybody can be the lucky person, and like, but you never know what when that happens. It's a bit or a lot of luck also in this field of getting a part.
Can I jump in with that?
Of course.
Tanja, I was going to say that I think that's the skill of a casting director, Yngvill, that you play down, is that you will look everywhere for these people, because you know what you're looking for, and anybody can be right in the room. But that's the joy of casting, and what we would always say at Spotlight is why you need to get a good casting director on board as early as possible, because if you have the luxury of time and a good relationship with your director and producer, you then have the luxury of being able to create this kind of magic cast. And Renata may be unknown to the general public, but you've seen her since drama school, and you know she's a safe, a solid choice. And it's that taste that people employ casting directors on. That's what they want, is your taste and expertise. I think it's a very kind of exciting skill, is an ability to be able to see things that other people can't see in maybe an unknown actor or an untrained actor, and somebody who's going to come alive on screen or on stage.
Yes,
yeah, and then it's just to shoot in on that, it's I can get questions about street casting, or if people are lucky to meet me, they can just like then you get the part. And no, have to go into and then come into the audition room, and it's not an easy thing to be in front of the camera. So it's a long way even of finding that amateur person, but then some people, they deal with it and tackle it in a great way. But still, it can happen. And sometimes, maybe I have the right taste for it. I don't know.
Yes, and even more. I mean, the casting process is an extremely important part of the film production itself. So, especially because it's also a very tense time. What Andrea described is, I think, more or less with almost film production is the same. That the producers are still financing the film. The location scouting is going on. The casting process is going on. Also, in the same time, the script is getting more and more ready to shoot. And you as casting director are an extremely important part of this journey, and also partner of the director itself, I would say. So that's why, I mean, your job is to challenge the director and to push the right buttons somehow. We have the first question from the audience. I would like to ask it. And the question is, did the lead actress, so Renate, have any creative input in the development of the role? And was this a reason why it just had to be her playing the role? So I don't know who, Andrea?
I think Andrea can answer on that, because Andrea also followed the shooting very, very closely, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and I would definitely say yes to the first question. And I think that was a huge advantage that she was thought of this early, was that she read the script really early. She gave her comments. I know she and Joachim discussed not only the script, but just a lot of life and love and death and all these existential discussions, and spent hours just talking, which really feed into the themes of the film. So both consciously and unconsciously, I think she really had impact on the script. And then also during rehearsals, they did have a lot of time to go through the scenes and discuss the different situations and develop the dynamic between the actors. And then thirdly, on set, they also had time to improvise in some scenes. So I would say she was very much involved in developing the character, and also giving Joachim what you say, had discussions and tried to
challenge him.
Challenge him on what kind of character she was. And of course, the whole discussion about gender, him being a man writing about a woman, she's going to be this woman, she needs to kind of give her perspective on how it feels from the inside. And I think you two had a lot of good input in that sense, Yngvill, about having these discussions to actually challenge Joachim, also to kind of articulate what he is actually trying to accomplish, not just go with the gut, but try to put some words on it and become conscious.
I also talked a lot with Joachim towards the two films that we've been working with, and that's also a really important thing when I work with directors, that I can have this sort of collaboration with, because we are together trying to understand the people that is going to become alive. And then I mean, obviously a lot comes from the director that also is writing, and he is in this project, and I also use a lot of myself and what have I done in my life, and to see the characters when I work with the actors in the room, because we need to understand them and use from ourselves, and that's the fun thing about the job as well.
I mean, she's obviously also trusting Joachim a lot. And I mean, I don't know Renate myself personally, but I could feel it in the film. I mean, she's very brave too as an actor, so in a very intimate way, because it's a very how to describe. I don't want to spoil the film, but she's extremely opening herself. So that's what I could sense, and it's obviously that it has been a very trustful, intimate atmosphere during the shooting process.
Yes, and I would say this is extremely important for Joachim. He's really good at it too. He's very, very, very. He focuses a lot on making a safe environment for the actors and always making sure that they're very well taken care of. So that also is something that is communicated to the team, and everyone really tries to make it comfortable and safe for them to go there to do these intimate scenes, and not intimate in that particular sense, but emotionally.
Yes, that's what I mean. We do have more questions from the audience, so I would just go on. Andrea, that's a question now for you. So did the project meet any roadblocks due to the casting decision in terms of funding, bringing other people on board, distribution? How did you address any of these objections?
I can't really recall any particular roadblocks, but I would say that for Yngvill, at least that took more time than we wished for to find the Yngvill character. So he came in very late, but in time it was okay. But that was a bit like frustrating at one point. But we didn't. There wasn't. No, there wasn't any choices or decisions that were shut down.
Okay.
Or do you recall anything, Yngvill?
No, but actually I have to arrest you a bit, Andrea, because the actor that plays Yngvill, he was actually one of the first actors that were on my list. He was
for sure, but he wasn't decided for.
No, yes. And that's also just an interesting part that I think also is a classic in the casting world, that you can still go a big round and end up. But it wasn't that Joachim was doing the round. He was there all the time, but it's just a way of searching and then be ready to start to audition also the rounds with the actors that he has in mind. And I really believe also that a good casting process is like important for directors to really get to physically work on their project. And Yngvill was the first role that Joachim himself was involved in casting, because physically, I mean, like in the room, because the others were, that was his own process before we stood in the room. And yeah, that's, I really believe that casting can be really important for many directors also in that sense of, because then it's, maybe many directors don't like direct even every year physically with actors, and then you go in the room and yeah, now it's starting then, and yeah, so but it's yeah, it's always interesting to look back, and yeah, but it's we used a lot of time on it.
Yngvill, there's another question from the audience. If the director or producer don't have specific names for who they want to cast, but may rely on stereotypes or famous names or just abstract descriptions based on feelings to communicate their ideas, how do you handle such a request?
Well, then I think my job is to, I work obviously for the director, and then I do what the director wants. If they have wishes and stereotypes, or if, yeah, I do what they want me to, or try to audition. But then also it's my job to like challenge them, as the word we've used already, if I have my own ideas and maybe see the scenes or the script in a bit different way. And then normally they are very happy about that, to get to see audition tapes of actors or character types that they hadn't thought of themselves. Or maybe it's just totally wrong, but then we've tried. Or maybe, hey, I really like that person who is that actress or actor. I want to use her for another part. And also the casting process is building up a common knowledge of where actors are at this very point when we are casting, because they also change during their career. So it's not I do what they want me to do. I mean, that's my job, but also try to be creative also in other ways.
So you just said that you're working for the director. So that's why as producer, I have to ask.
Yes, I can also fill into that because I am actually educated as a producer in the Norwegian Film School many years ago. I was a horrible talent. I never understood why I got into that school. But anyway, it has made my journey through where I am now in the film business in Norway. So I have a great respect for all producers, and I also definitely feel that I work for them. But I'm not saying it just because you mentioned it now, because they are the ones that hire me. They are having me on a contract, and I'm very happy if the producers also step into the discussion room of the cast, and I also learn from the producers. I mean, I learn especially, of course, from every director I work with, but also producers can come and say things and have other perspectives on things that I learn of. And also you have to see what project you're working with. And yes,
I just wanted to make a joke, so I didn't.
Yeah. No, but for me, it's important to say it also in a bit of a serious way, because sometimes the producers can be, the producers, but I really have never seen it that way.
How would you describe, basically, and it's a question to you and to Andrea, so how would you describe the ideal collaboration between a producer and the casting director? So maybe.
I mean, yes. As Yngvill mentioned, we were more producers on this project, so I was very much hands-on and working closely with Joachim and also with the whole process and pre-production and everything. And we did discuss a lot, or I was in the room with you and Joachim, Yngvill. But it's very different from project to project, I would say, and the different setups. It's different when we are less producers on a smaller project with kind of a smaller financing case, for instance. But I think it's very good to have an ally in the casting director, just that it's kind of a direct line to discuss the characters and how the project evolves with the casting directors without the director in the room, and also between the two of them and the director and the producer together. It's very good to kind of have that triangle to explore different perspectives and to challenge each other in different ways. But it varies a lot from director to director, I would say, and project to project.
And also, of course, this is it's also a big money question, the casting, and I must say that I feel very lucky to have been on this project, but also many other projects I've been working on. I've been working with producers that really see the value of using resources in the casting process, starting with kind of enough time and not stressing the process. But I totally understand that everything costs. Of course, everybody that works with cinema, we know this. But also, it's never my decision. We are waiting for the director, or maybe also sometimes the producers, to do the decisions. We, as casting directors. So for me, it's also important to feel like trust also from the producers that this is an important part of the pre-production, and I can find 100 actors, but maybe the director anyway isn't. I mean, you never know.
It's a very valid point, and I remember I felt also a lot of responsibility in order to make you do your job good, because in order for you to do a good casting job, you also need us to take the decisions needed in time. So it's also important to actually kind of, be there and do the job that is needed from our side to enable that you spend your time wisely.
Yeah, and the producer can be a very important part of then, like, how do we push the director to, because maybe we understand, and I'm not talking about Joachim in this, but in general more, we understand that they know who they want, but they're just like kind of in one way afraid to do the decision, because that will lock one door, but then, you know, it will open another door, because then the other big process for that actor can start. And also the casting director can go on with new parts, because sometimes you need one part to go on with the other one. And that's a casting director producer collaboration sometimes.
Yes, it's very much that.
Interesting. So you seem to be a good team. I have to say, Pippa, are you working more with casting directors or with producers?
Casting directors generally use Spotlight to find their actors. We have our platform has over 70,000 professional actors on it, so casting directors can send out their brief, they can search the database. I mean, when we get approached directly from producers, we would always say you need to get a casting director, and we would put them towards the ICDN, the Casting Directors Guild in the UK, or the Casting Society in America, because just as you've said, Andrea and Yngvill, it's that trio, that creative trio of the producer, the director, and the casting director. If that is very tight, it makes for a very powerful engine driving a project. And so we've always thought that the casting directors are undervalued, and they don't get the kind of recognition they deserve, really, for pulling in people and creating casts. So generally with Spotlight, it will be casting directors using us directly to find actors, and it might just be searching through actors, making short lists of actors. It might be actually sending out breakdowns and using the site to cast their projects.
And Pippa, I'm just curious, because I mean, as far as I understand, the principal, so you're in contact with a lot of casting directors and actors from different countries, and since some years. And do you observe any changes or new trends in the casting process, especially due to social media becoming more and more important into for our daily lives, but also for business purposes, also for marketing issues?
I mean, I think, and casting is changing all the time, and the industry is changing all the time. As a kind of independent organization, we always try and kind of align ourselves with other industry bodies like ICDN or Shooting Stars, so that you can focus on quality. The difference about Spotlight compared to other casting sites is, as a performer, you have to have experience or training to appear on Spotlight. So casting directors know that they are going to get professional, experienced or trained actors. More and more we see casting directors putting stuff out on Twitter or things like that, and it's very difficult to regulate that kind of work. And I think that makes it less safe for performers, because they can't be sure about what the project is, whether the casting director is a real casting director, whether they're somebody that can be trusted, whether it's a real project. More and more you see actors just putting stuff on social media, and you're not quite sure where it's going to be. And it's strange because we are, it's a profession. It's not anyone can just do it. And I think certainly for Spotlight, that's why we always try and align ourselves with kind of quality industry bodies, so that there is some support for performers and casting directors in terms of the quality of work and, the stuff that they're putting themselves up for.
Yeah. I'm having a question from the audience that fits topic-wise and goes back a little bit to Yngvill, I think, but also actually to all the others. How does one get a casting director attached at an early stage of development? So, because Pippa, you just underlined the importance of a casting director, as we all did. So, what would you say?
Well, in Norway, it's kind of, I mean, we're a small country, and no, I just get an email or a call. How's your availability? Are you interested in reading this script, or do you want to come for coffee and hear about this project? For instance, when I was asked about the Thelma project, Andrea's colleague Thomas Robsam, I think he texted me, do you want to take a coffee with Joachim? And I said, yeah, okay, I don't know him. He was already a famous Norwegian director, but I didn't know him personally at all. I didn't know him. Sure, I will take a coffee with him. And that was like a really good, kind of speed date. I don't know how. I really liked the way he talked about his project and his pitch, and I think we just clicked in one way of, he didn't know me either. I don't know why this coffee was put up, but he liked the way I talked about how I like to work with actors in the room and casting. And so that happened in that way. And then I was just asked again to work with him. But yeah, normally here we just, we call each other and see if, it's a good collaboration possibility, or people are available. I don't know, because I work in Norway, so I can't speak for how it really are in the bigger territories in the world.
Well, I can say for Germany that it's more or less the same. I mean, you contact the casting director you're interested in, or somebody recommended to you somehow, and then you ask them via email or at the coffee or somewhere if they're interested in the collaboration, then negotiate the fee, and then the time scale. I guess in UK it's the same, Pippa.
Yeah, I was going to say, Yngvill, do you ever co-cast with other casting directors around the world?
Yeah, I have for some projects, when then of course it has been important parts from abroad. Yes, there have been some collaborations, and I really also believe that that's a very good thing, because those casting directors obviously know their field territory much better than I would do. But then I have also, you can also use a platform like Spotlight also to do some research for yourself, but that can then you can also get someone to collaborate with at for the next step. But
often when I talk to casting directors, at film festivals and things, the thing that they love most is actually meeting other casting directors from around the world that they've co-cast with, but they've never actually met in the flesh. So, if a British or American casting director was doing a project and they needed some Norwegians, they would call you up and say, look, I've got 6 characters, can you find them? And that kind of collaboration globally is really exciting, and is then, your experience and knowledge of your market is when it kind of comes into its own, isn't it?
Yeah, and I what I know from my colleagues in ICDN, this happens a lot. And I don't know, maybe scripts nowadays, they have stories that need that have characters from many countries, and because it happens a lot now. And also maybe because money are from different countries, then you want to cast actors from.
I would say that's often the case.
Yeah.
Where there's again a question from the audience that fits. Where do you find authentic actors that you may not have continuous access to? So where would you look for?
Well, now if I came in that I needed that, I would definitely go through the International Casting Directors Network, which I'm happy to be a part of. And those questions come like every week. I need this actor, we don't have casting directors from all parts of the world, and then maybe someone knows someone, and so we actually try to help each other out. But for sure there are languages and actors that are more difficult to find, but so that's why a network like that can be a good help. And also I probably then a platform like Spotlight, but
we would have.
Depends what kind of actor you're looking for, of course.
Yeah, I mean our contacts across the industry, like you say, Yngvill, we would know someone who would know actors in that territory. But similarly, on Spotlight, you would have the ability to search specifically for languages, skills, anything. So, often casting directors will be talking about some very specific casting they're looking for, and other casting directors will say, oh, did you know so-and-so is really trying to find a, I don't know, Maasai warrior or something. And I think it's then that the kind of casting networks internationally are so important, because it's a very mutually supportive group of people. And they all have the same aim, which is trying to find the perfect actor.
Yeah.
It doesn't always matter if it's their project or not. They will say, oh, I've seen this person who might be brilliant.
Yes,
and they're all passionate about talent.
And I'm also part of so many strange groups on Facebook. And sometimes, why am I part of this group of people that are driving big trucks? Why do I get information? Oh, yeah, because I needed an actor that had the certificate of driving a truck once. Yes, so that's, yeah. But I mean, social media can also be very good for searching particular things, but also that depends on the how big is the part you're searching for and everything.
Right. I will, because we're really now receiving a lot of questions from the audience, and I would like to try to get them all in. The next one is, what are some of the important ideas or thoughts that go into the casting process of casting the supporting roles if you have a not yet famous lead? So the question goes back to the film. So
can you repeat it?
Yes. Please? What are some of the important ideas that go into the casting process of casting the supporting roles if you have a not yet famous lead? So basically, how do you start? So when you have a not famous lead, as you had with Berlinale, so what are the important ideas or lead questions when you start casting the supporting roles? So that's how I understand the question.
Yeah. Well, I believe in this project, Andrea, it wasn't like a topic at all. And Joachim, he wanted the best people for his supporting roles, and I was never like pushed in some direction. Can we please find someone more like kind of famous, or how many Instagram followers does people have? We never had discussions like that. But like Andrea said in the beginning, Anders Danielsen Lee is in some territories a kind of a more known name than I was at the point. But for me, I must say I seldom get like a lot of questions about it. Maybe we're very open-minded in Norway for you.
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't know. Maybe it's also a consequence of being such a small country. I think in bigger countries, yes, I guess the producers or like financiers ask for A-list cast or like big names. I think in Norway it's almost sometimes the opposite. It's like we want new interesting faces. We don't always want like the people you've seen before in every project. So it's almost valuable to actually find that gold, like who are the new interesting people. Yeah, I think that's almost just as important in our way.
Andrea, I'm having also a question for you. And the question is, what do you look for in a good casting director? So how do you know whether you have a good casting director in front of you?
No, I think definitely the most important is that they communicate well with the director. It's much more important for me to see that they trust each other, or that the director really wants this person. So I would definitely kind of have the director to tell me who they want to work with, or let them meet with this person first and say what they think. And then I would say it's more about getting a sense of the approach and the process, like how do they work, in order to, because I have worked with like a variety of structured casting directors. So that's more, as long as the director trusts this person, it's for me just good to know whether we speak the same language in terms of approach and process.
Yeah. Yngvill, a question for you from a writer. Do you have any advice how a writer can suggest actors without being shot? Do you encourage the screenwriter to develop a relationship with the casting director?
Oh, this is an interesting question. Well, I've been doing some like bigger TV dramas lately, where we have had very involved scriptwriters, as they have been the showrunners, and then I've been working also a lot with them. They have been a big part of the main cast, being on all meetings and everything. And I don't know, in general, I feel when I work on a film, we're like kind of a team. So if like the costume designer, which has happened actually many times, because they work so like physically closely with the actors, they have suggested people. I've just thought about, and I don't want to go into your field or anything, but yes, hi, if you know someone and it's like maybe a part they know I've been working with for a long time, yes, why don't email me that name? And I would never shoot a writer for doing that to me, but yeah, I don't get insulted if people would do that, but because I believe that we're a team together working towards the same goal. And I mean, I like to know that, or think that, yeah, I'm good. I know kind of all the Norwegian actors, but it's not like I go and think of everybody in the top of my head every single day. And then also like this project we were also searching a bit in other fields and not only actors. So yes, if a writer has some good names, just email me. But it depends on the way you do it. I mean, if you every day get a list of people that you should audition, yeah, that's my point of view, that we are working in the same direction.
Great. The audience is interested in anecdotes from the shooting or from the film production itself. So something that didn't go as you planned or expected. Something funny.
Oh, of course.
COVID wasn't planned, was it?
Oh,
and
yes.
The broken leg.
For sure not. Joachim broke his leg and he was out for at least he had to learn to walk again.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was that serious. He had like this huge they have to kind of just put his leg back together, and he was on crutches for half a year, and so he had to kind of go through recovery while casting. But that's not a very fun anecdote. Oh, this is when Renate would have been a star, like telling you fun anecdotes.
But I heard Renate say one thing, because I wasn't even in Oslo when they shot the films. I didn't even visit the set, but I have followed some interviews that Renate has done, and she's told about the freeze scene when a lot of extras are frozen, and that people around in the that area part of Oslo, they kind of suddenly got into the scene as well and became part of the frozen scene or something.
Yes, this is could be a spoiler alert, but at some point in the film, the world stands still, and we had, you know, this huge panoramic pictures and a lot of extras, and then some people just walking through the streets came by and understood that it was a scene, and they had to freeze while we were shooting, and then they understood we needed them then because of continuity. So they had to stay throughout the day. Yes, but I think they thought it was fun. It was like a very extraordinary setup, and we had to close down the whole town for some scenes and some traffic. It was very like exotic for people to join. It was sort of a flash mob scene.
Are you already planning his next film, if I may ask? Is there anything boiling already?
You know, they have had so much fortune and good things going with this film, so they haven't had time to get as far as they wanted, but he and Eskil have had like 5 days, I think, to start to discuss and talk about life. So I think Joachim in particular really wants to go back on set. He really, that's his like favorite state of mind. So they are starting to work on it.
Great, I'm already curious and looking forward to it. So we're actually almost running out of time, and I would really like to thank you. Pippa, did you want to say something or no?
No, it's just you know, it's a brilliant film, and it's wonderful to hear about your process and your kind of collaboration together to, you know, that results in something as kind of you know, glorious as that film. So you know, it's really fun.
Yeah, so I can encourage just again to go and watch the film. So it really is an experience to watch it. It's and the long-lasting one. So it's worth your time. Andrea, Yngvill, Pippa, thank you very much for your time. Also, thank you to the audience for listening to us, for giving us your time. I'm crossing all my fingers for all awards coming up. So Academy Awards, BAFTA, I guess in Norway, you're also expecting some awards or whatever. So I'm really crossing all my fingers for the film, and I'm already looking forward to the next one. And thank you very much for your insights and your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.